Good evening. I'm Mr. Chaos. And as some of you may remember, in my reaction to episode 14 of MLP Season 6, The Cart Before Ponies, um, some of you may have probably noticed that I kind of had to pause my review of like from a quarter into it just to like rewatch a scene so that I could be a bit less lost during my review. Like before I thought I covered quite enough in my review, but for this video I want to do something that I've kind of talked about before, but I want to do kind of a second look at, or like a re-review. Or in this video I'm basically going to be touching upon something that I didn't really talk about in my review, that I feel that I didn't really touch good enough upon. So let's just dive right into this. And okay, before we dive into this, I just want to kind of, tell you guys a bit more what I mean when I said that before I thought the Cart Before Ponies episode was a bit like Spice Up Your Life for the Magical Mystery Cure. So, alright, now let's dive in. So the reason why I thought that this episode was a bit like Magical Mystery Cure or Spice Up Your Life is because when I was first watching the video during my reaction video, I was thinking that Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo sort of pick the roles or awards that like to go for that didn't really match their interests or who they were. But I sort of got it wrong. And like I said before, I respect people's differences in personalities and interests. And yes, I don't expect Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo to be exactly the same personalities as their sisters or friends. Everybody has differences. But what kind of threw me off is Apple Bloom clearly wanted to go for the fastest award. Sweetie Belle wanted the most traditional award, and Scootaloo wanted the most creative award. And yes, like I said, I respect differences in personality, and yes, they don't have to match, but it just seemed a bit out of their character, and I just sort of wanted to stick with what I originally thought before. What I originally thought was that Apple Bloom clearly wanted most traditional because, she's country and she's Applejack's sister and they're the Apple family. And Sweetie Belle would want the most creative because Rarity's creative, and Sweetie Belle would most likely be pretty creative. I mean, she's a bit more optimistic than Rarity is, but I can still see her being creative, but yet in a slightly different way. And with Scootaloo, yeah, she's a big fan of Rainbow Dash, so why else would she wouldn't want to be fast? I mean, she's always like fast on her scooter and doing some really cool tricks, so why wouldn't she want to be the fastest? But no, they all chose different awards. And that's what sort of threw me off a bit, because I wanted to stick with believing that Apple Bloom was always the traditional one, Sweetie Belle was always the creative one, and Scootaloo was always the fastest one, like Rainbow Dash. But like I said, I have no problems with difference in personality, but I'm just clarifying that that's what threw me off in my review, which is why about a quarter through it I sort of had to, cut it out for a bit so I could rewatch that scene. So, because I previously said that I was getting pretty lost in my review, because me believing that Apple Bloom was the traditional one and Sweetie Belle was the creative one and Scootaloo was the fastest one kind of threw me off of about half of what was going on in the episode. So yeah, that's why I had to watch that scene, and I had to sort of correct myself during my review, but I felt I didn't really correct myself enough. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to kind of, clarify and kind of correct it better. So yes, the reason why I was thrown off a bit is because, and yes, again, I respect differences. I just always thought the Cutie Mark Crusaders' personalities were very similar to their sisters and friends. But like I said, when people's interests or personalities are different, it can kind of cause things to derail sometimes depending on the person. And yes, yeah, and clearly when Rainbow Dash and Rarity and Applejack were getting carried away and saying that it was their carts, and no, it wasn't theirs, it was supposed to be the Cutie Mark Crusaders' carts, and because they had different personalities, the Cutie Mark Crusaders weren't really interested in their final carts. But of course, with their good attitude, they said, hey, at least we'll still get to drive in the race. And of course they don't get to drive, because Rainbow Dash and Rarity and Applejack are taking so much advantage in this that they even want to drive. Which the adult ponies should have really been like the passengers or something. But yeah, I know this wasn't really a review, just the whole point of these kind of videos is, like I did for my last video where I sort of talk about, that Cutie Mark Crusaders episode in this season, the previous one, On Your Marks. I had to sort of say that it was very relatable to some of the life situations I was going through at the time. Well, this is kind of like that, only I'm touching upon something that I felt I didn't really touch good enough in my review. But overall, recapping on the episode shortly again, it was an okay one. It wasn't the best, and I don't think it'll be one that I will return to for a while, but it was a good time to watch, and it did have some good lessons in it. And yes, just again, the reason why I was thrown off my review is because I thought Applewood and Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo had more similar personalities of their sisters and friends, but I guess their personalities were different, and they just wanted different awards. So, yeah, that's what threw me off, and I will just try to concentrate a bit better from now on. But yeah, that's what I wanted to go over in this video, and if you have any more thoughts about this episode, please don't hesitate to share it with me in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care and have a good day.